I think we're recording. Hello, this is a Python hexadecimal color demo for Section 2 of CS1, Fall 2025. And let me get going so we can have plenty of time for a demo. I want to do idle, of course I do, and I'm going to pick up where we left off last time. If you were here last time, then you know that we got a program running, and if you don't remember, then I'll open it and show you how far we got last time. Examples, demo, example 7, graphics demo. And it's still nice and big font. Oh boy, run module. There. Does anybody remember that? We made that. We made a graphical circle that was pink on the inside and orange on the outside. Here's my plan. Oh, and we also, I think, we're now waiting for a mouse click before it goes away. I'm going to stop and make a plan first. I want multiple colors, for one thing. I want to specify the colors in hex. And before this is over with, if we have time, I want more than one ball on the floor down here, and I want each of them to be different colors. Talk about a pretty tall stacked Christmas wish list. That's what I want. And when I click that, remember now it says let's play ball. And now it's waiting for a mouse click again. Okay. Did anybody have any questions about how we got to that point? Any question about this code from last time? Let's just get this ball rolling, so to speak. Instead of pink, your choice, red, green, or blue. What color do you want the inside of the ball to be? Red. Okay. To max out red, FF, that's a maximum red component. No green, no blue. Now, anything that's got a real high number for red and then smaller numbers for green and blue is probably going to be a reddish color. It might be more complex red. It might be Cabernet Sauvignon color. It might be brick red. It might be Native American blanket red. It could be any other kind of red. There's just so many different shades of red in there because we got 16 million colors to choose from. Shut up and run, okay? Please, oh please, be at least red. That is red. Actually, that is as red as you can get. That is the most intense red possible. Let's play ball. Okay? Any question about that? Well, I think I want three circles. Three circles. So symbolic constant. Circles equals 3. Because I might want 7 later. I might want 10. I might only want 2. But I'm going to say 3. And how can anybody think of, without duplicating code and getting a really long program, can anybody think of a way that we might be able to do exactly the same thing in a program 3 times? No? You don't remember how to repeat code 3 times in a Python program? Huh? A for loop. Thank you very much. So I need a for loop. For I, for lack of any creativity whatsoever. And how do I make it loop 3 times? Like that? No, silly me. Circles. I in circles. I feel like I'm going around in circles. Will that do it? I guess there's one way to find out. Run module. Whoops. Expected an indented block after 4. Expected an indented block. Why was it expecting an indented block? There's nothing in the for loop right now. The for loop has to have a statement block for a body, and let's see, I could go through and tab each one of these one at a time, but watch what I can do. Format gives you a lot of power over what your code looks like on the screen, including, oh look, I can comment stuff out if I want to. I don't think I want to comment it out. I wanted to indent it. Uncomment region. How about tabify now? Indent. There. Bada boom, bada bing. And to save, again, in the interest of time, that's not a list. To loop, in a for loop, you've got to have a list to go through, and range will give us a list. Range circles, quick review. This is more a review of Python in general than it is Python graphics. But the range library program produces a list that goes 0, 1, 2, 3, so forth, up to whatever number you give it, or actually one less than one number. So, quick review. Range circles, when circles is 3, will be what list specifically? 0, 1, and 2. You're exactly right. Let's run it and see if it will draw 3 circles now. Well, there's one circle. Click. There's a second circle, and there's a third circle. The problem is, maybe a multiple problem, all of our circles are exactly the same color. All of our circles show up in exactly the same place. So we can't even tell that the circles are different circles. If we want to see different circles, then we got to move them around. The easiest way to move them around, since the screen, our graphics window is so much wider than it is tall, I'm going to change the x coordinate of the point each time I go through the loop. So I'll move it over. So let me see. I'm going to start by setting a variable before I even get to the loop. Tab over circle x equals, and I'm not going to put it right smack in the middle. I'm going to back it up. So it's at width divided by 4. Now then, instead of width divided by 2, it'll be width divided by 4. No, it won't either. The whole point of that variable is so I could use circle x. Feel free to yell, "No, you idiot," anytime you feel the mood, anytime the spirit moves you. Now let's see here. Now I got a variable, so that should change. We'll run it and see. Hope it didn't break anything. Well, that did change. It's back over here. So now click, click, click. Well, big deal. I did move the circle, but they're all still at the same place. So if I want to, it's kind of like setting up a running total down here. Right before the get mouse, I'm going to move circle x. So the next time it goes through, it'll have a different x coordinate for the middle of the circle. That's the plan. CIRCLEX equals, and I'll move it over the quarter of the width each time. WIDTH slash, no, equals whatever it was before. Circle x plus width divided by 4. So that'll creep it across the screen a quarter of the width at a time. Or so I claim, so I hope. So I'll run. See if it works. There's the first one. Click. Ta-da! And it worked. Ta-da! Now we got 3 balls instead of just one, except they're all still the same color. They're all still the same outline. How can I make the color change for all the circles and still use a for loop? Here's a seemingly completely unrelated question. How could I change which team I'm printing out wins and losses for each time I go through a for loop? Does that sound like a totally off-the-wall, unrelated, tangential question? How did we change the team we were talking about each time we went through a for loop? Does anybody remember? Remember, I go 0, 1, 2. Ah, yes, it's starting to come back to me. As we went through the for loop of women's basketball teams, we used the loop index to choose a list element. Ah, yes. Does that sound familiar at all? We got to have a list if we're going to choose a list element. So in addition to circles, I better get some colors. And I don't know a lot of colors right now. So I'll use the ones I know. Specify color, you got to use the pound sign, and then you put your 6-digit hexadecimal code. And that is the standard way to represent an RGB color. It's not just Python. It's with all the different color systems I know. So I know red. Red is FF 000000, I meant. Double quote. And the second color, pound sign, Let's do green. 0, 0, FF, 0, 0. How about blue? Pound sign, 0, 0, 0, 0, FF. There. Now we got a list of colors. I want all my circles to be different colors. Does everybody see what's going on here? Let's see if that'll fix it. Run module. Click, click. No, didn't fix it. So much for that idea. What's wrong with this picture? It's not down here. It's not changing each time I go through the loop. I don't want to use this. This is red. This, every time it goes through the loop, it sets the fill color, the inside of the circle that it just made. It's making 3 different circles. It sets the color to red every time. I don't want to set the color to red every time. Whoops. I don't want to hit that button either. What do I want to set the fill color to each time I go through the loop? Circles something. Not circles, colors. Colors. And what do I want it to be the first time? Red, which is the 0 color, right? Run everything, run. No. Back to the virtual drawing board. That uses the list. What's wrong with that? It only uses the first color every time it goes through. Here's the plan. I keep changing the plan. I want it to use the first color the first time through the loop, second color second time through the loop, and you guessed it, third color third time through the loop. How can I get it to change which color it's using every time it goes through the loop? I've got range circles, which is going to walk me through the 0, 1, 2 for values of I. So think about this. The first time through the loop, I is 0. The second time through the loop, I is 1. The third time through the loop, I is 2. Does everybody agree with me with that far? If I change this to I, innocent little I, the first time through the loop, it sets fill using colors square bracket 0, which is the first color. The next time through the loop, I is equal to 1. And it uses color square bracket 1, which is the second thing in the loop. And if I had a loop that went through 10 times and I had 10 colors in my list, it would go through one at a time, each time using the different color out of the list. Or so I claim. Let's run this and see if it works any better. Cross your fingers, think positive thoughts. That is a different color, and that is an even different color. Red, green, blue. We maxed out the RGB component of each one individually, and now we have 3 different colors, and we're ready to play some ball here. Who has a question about what we've got so far? So far, could there be more? You know what? Now that we're on a roll, how could we make it so that every time we go through the loop, the outline changes colors too? How could we make it, if we're going through a loop and we're changing the basketball team each time, how can we make it change the number of wins each time as well? Is it that challenging of a question? Fill in the blank. We can use a parallel bars. No, it's not gymnastics. Parallel list. Does everybody remember what a parallel list is? I want a list so that the first color in that list matches, not matches, but goes along with the first color in my colors list. In other words, I'll need another list. I'll call it outlines. And I'll set that to the outline colors. Now, I use colors here that I knew, but the weird thing about it is you can't mess it up as long as you're using hexadecimal digits. Every single different 6-digit hexadecimal number is a color. It is a unique color. So you can make them up wild and crazy random stuff. AF 96 4O. What is that? I don't know, but I have a hint. I know it's got AF for the red component, and that's a lot bigger than 96 or 40. So that's going to be some shade of red. Let me do the same thing with, I'm going to do blue next. I want something that is a complex, deep shade of blue. Maybe 804B. And blue, I've got to do a bigger number for blue. EE. How can I be so arrogant as to claim that that should be a shade of blue? Well, if you look at the blue component, it's much bigger. It dominates either one of the other two. How do I know it's even a color? Because every possible 6-digit hexadecimal number is a color. I don't know why I spaced over. Pound sign, and who's left out? Green. How about 80? F7 53. Why those numbers? Because I just made them up. I'm going to claim, though, that the outline of the first one is going to be mostly reddish. The second outline should be mostly green, and the last one should be mostly blue. You'll have to remember that because I'm not going to. Is that going to do what we want it to do? That's not very red, and that's certainly not blue, and that's not green. So it didn't work. What's wrong with this picture? We've got to change the outline color every time we go through the loop as well. That was the whole point of setting up the loop. I mean, not the loop, but the list. Outlines, is it plural? Yes. Outlines, square bracket I, and that's going to change which outline value it uses each time it goes through the loop. First time it goes through the for loop, I is 0, and it chooses outline color 0. You got the idea. Then I is 1, and it chooses color 1, and then 2, color 2, or at least in theory, that's what should happen. Yikes. That doesn't look red at all. But now we know how to make brown. A horrible greenish looking brown. That is a rather sickly looking purple, but that's supposed to be primarily blue, and it kind of is. That's a green that's almost a basic green. That's because I think I was close to maxing out the green. But at least we know we can make all these different colors in Python. Let's play ball with weirdly colored balls. How about a question on that? Now, you might think you're at the mercy of nearly endless trial and error on this. How can I control the colors so that I get colors that match each other or that complement each other, or maybe they fit mid-century modern color scheme that's always been a favorite of mine, or whatever it may be? Watch what I can do. Watch what I can do. I'm going to go to the web, if Google will let me, and let me see. How could I find out how to do hex colors? I could start by searching for hex colors. Maybe it'll hit something. Maybe it'll hit like 17 million different websites that show you hexadecimal colors. That's always a possibility. If I click on one of these, look at this, look at this. How to get the hexadecimal codes of colors in Google Sheets. So if you work in Google Sheets and you like the colors there, that's not useful, that's not useful. This is useful. Look at this. You remember what I was typing in to get hex colors in our Python code, pound sign and then 6 digits? Every one of these is pound sign followed by 6 digits, and it shows you what color that hexadecimal number is. Let's pick out ones that we know. Here's FF solid zeros. That's the brightest red you can possibly get. Here is solid zeros. That's black. Over here is solid Fs. That's white. And all these other things in between, look at this. 50 shades of gray. There's more than 50 shades of gray. This is just showing you some of them. So if you wanted to use colors and you wanted to predict what they were going to be, you could go to a website like this and pick out the ones you wanted to use. You're not at the mercy of purely trial and error. Okay? That's not the website I was looking for. These are not the droids you were looking for. And I don't see a back arrow, and I don't see how to close this window. Now I do. And now the back arrow. I want what I'm pretty sure is called a color picker. You pick a color. And that's not letting me change anything. So let me try a different color picker. That's just it. Don't waste your time on these Hex websites if you've got one and it's frozen up or doesn't do what you want it to do. Hex color, no. Hex color picker, P-I-C-K-E-R. Well, this looks like Step In by AI. It's not even a website. But let me try something here. What if we typed in hex, something we could predict, RGB. Well, there's blue all there already. Let me do the red. FFOOOO. And there it is. There's the bright red. And look at all the things it's showing me here. This stuff, I don't even know what that is, but I don't have any interest in it. This I have an interest in. If you can see it down here, let me bigger it. RGB, look at this. It's telling me in decimal what my color choice was. It's 255 for the red component, 0 for the green, 0 for the blue. And if I get a wild and crazy idea and I want to try a color like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is a color. That's a really wild and crazy shade of dark blue, I guess. But it still shows me the RGB. The red component is 18, green is 52, and blue is 86. Those are all fairly low. It's a dark color. It's a dark blue. And if I want to change it, now watch, I've seen this color picker before. Watch what happens if I drag this circle around. It's changing the hexadecimal and the RGB value. If I want to make it brighter, but I still like the shade a little bit, I can move up. And if I move up, it increases the RGB and gives me the hexadecimal code. And I could even just copy and paste this. I really love this blue. Let me copy and paste this. Therefore, right click, copy, and put it in my Python code, wherever that may be. Here it is. And who do I want that to be? I'll make that the color of the first circle. Right click, paste. And now I've got a custom color that's got too many pound signs up front. That's my new favorite color, my new favorite black, unbright blue. Run module. Okay. And there it is. I have copied it and pasted it from a custom selection of that color from a website. And actually, you know, that makes that icky brown look not so bad. It goes well with the dark blue. I think I got something going here. That's actually, I could almost call that my on-purpose designer color scheme. Those aren't too bad together. So we could play ball in color. And done with you. And you can, I haven't done it, you can run this several times, of course, if you want, by typing main over and over again. Let me get back to Google. Does anybody have any question about this hexadecimal business? And of course, you don't have to use this hex color picker. It's just the one that came up when I typed in the search line hex color people. Hex color picker, because I assume Peter Picker, Pickle, it's a tongue twister as well. I assume that that's AI talking to us here, but I'm not sure. You see what happens? You drag that. Ooh, ooh, and look at the hex numbers change as fast as they can. And then you can change how bright and how dark it is. There's all kind of stuff going on in this. Your own custom colors for your project 3, perhaps. You can come up with your own custom color scheme. Who has a question about any part of this? Yes. You can use RGB. I don't remember how to do it. It's something like R colon, and you put the decimal number and so on. The only one that you are required to use in Project 3 are the hex colors that we're using. And those are standard. That's why there are so many websites that show you tables of hexadecimal colors and what they look like on the screen. That's the standard way to specify them, not in decimal. Decimal, bless its heart, it's an outlier. It doesn't get to play in standard website development or anything like that. The pros always use the hexadecimal values for the colors. But yes, I mean, the shorter answer to your question is yes. You'll have to look it up and see how to specify decimal RGB components. Other question? If you have some RGB in mind, I bet you can type them in down here. Let me see. What decimal number do you want for your RGB component? 173, comma, green. 35, comma, 20. That's going to be mainly red. That's like a brick red, almost. Kind of, sort of, a dark red. But you can play around with this and come up with, like I said, your own custom color theme, your own custom color scheme. Anybody have any question about the online part of it? Oops, I made it go away. Or the coding part of it? Lists of colors that change as you go through for loops. You will get practice with this next week in the lab. Did you have a question?
Does the casing matter? Because I saw like you have a lowercase f in the first color and then like
here? Well, let's find out. The question on the floor is, does the casing matter? I don't think it does. Maybe it should. But these are not variables or symbolic constants or anything. These are being sent to a different system to translate that, first of all, into the binary bit stream of zeros and ones, and then set it up as a color. And it looks like it works just fine, either uppercase or lowercase. Good question, though. You can use either one. Unlike when you misspell a variable name because you've changed the case from upper to lower or lower to upper. So you can mix and match uppercase, lowercase. Other things, I mean, what if I accidentally put 2 pound signs there? Yikes, that's more than a red paragraph of death. That's a red page of death. It does not like that at all. So I shall undo that quickly. What if I don't put a full 6 digits? I am making up these what ifs as I go along. I am going to upload the video. If I ever shut down the video, I will upload the video and also send you the program that resulted from today's demo. And you can run these experiments yourself. And actually, that's the best way to answer any sort of what if questions that come up. Did it again? Apparently, it's off the bottom of the screen, but it doesn't like my 00FF invalid color name. Okay, have it your way. So the only thing it looks like we can mess around with within a color is to change it from uppercase to lowercase. But again, please do download this and run it. Run for fun. Make sure the graphics.py file is in the same folder. And you can experiment with this. You might even go ahead and have a custom color scheme all ready to go when Project 3 is assigned bright and early Monday morning. Well, no, bright and late Monday afternoon. Any question right now? The end. 3, 2, 1, cut.